Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome to the January 20th, 2015 Post Falls City Council meeting. We started the evening with a workshop on revenue, parcel revenue perspective, income tax information, or real estate tax information. Thank you very much to staff for preparing that. Clerk will note that all council members are present. Ceremonies, announcements, appointments, presentations. First item is an oath of office. Welcome, Mr. Connole. Please step forward, and Shannon is going to swear in Russell Connole, new Public Services Director.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Idaho, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Public Service Director of the City of Post Falls, Idaho, according to the best of your ability?
Thank you.
Stand side by side.
We didn't have roll call.
We did. I told her to note everybody was.
Welcome aboard, Russell. Good to see you.
Welcome. Thanks.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Glad you joined us.
Good luck. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Oh, thanks.
Russell, am I safe to assume this is your family? We will treat him well. Thank you. Most of the time, right. Russell, glad to have you on board. Announcements, community update. As most of you know, Gary Young passed away recently. He will be remembered in some of the projects he worked on, such as the entryway water features, and he was a landscape architect on Urban Renewal Spokane Street project. The street lights with the blue candlesticks were a specific recommendation by Gary. He was a principal landscape architect, land use planner at Veritas, and formerly the city's community development director. Council and I extend our sympathy to Gary's family. Post Falls Police Detective Rod Gunderson is retiring after 27 years on the force. Rod, thank you for your service to our community, and we wish him well in his retirement. Police Department text. Kudos to Police Dispatcher Lori Sutton for her efforts in saving a woman who was contemplating suicide. Sutton and the woman exchanged texts for over an hour before the woman turned herself over to authorities in Coeur d'Alene for help. Thank you for, again, another job well done. Transportation Master Plan Open House. The city is hosting an open house at City Hall on January 27th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. to receive public comments regarding the update of the city's Transportation Master Plan. The Chamber of Commerce Annual Community Recognition Banquet is this Thursday at Red Lion Templins. Doors open at 5:30, dinner stations open at 6, and the program begins at 7. Kootenai County is in the process of updating the county's all-hazard mitigation plan. Community input and involvement is instrumental in the development of a mitigation plan update that truly reflects the perceptions and needs of Kootenai County residents and business owners. A link to the survey can be found on the city's Facebook page. And Sunday, we had a very nice press release. I was excited to announce that the Jacqueline family has agreed to donate a site for a future veterans home in Post Falls. The gift of land valued at $1.1 million demonstrates the Jacqueline support of veterans and commitment to economic development, as the facility would create approximately 50 new jobs in our community. Former Mayor Clay Larkin was a strong supporter of the need for a veterans facility in North Idaho and has been in the forefront of the effort for more than 7 years. I also want to recognize and thank Glenn Crosby, also a veteran, for his tireless work on this project. With this generous commitment to donate a site from the members of the Jacqueline family, we have achieved one of those major requirements, and we are hopeful that we can get a commitment from our legislative representatives to earmark the needed funds from funds already in place at the Division of Veteran Services. We understand that this process will be lengthy, but we hope to be able to show the VA that the citizens of North Idaho fully support this effort and that our project is shovel-ready. This honors the service of our veterans and the efforts of former Mayor Larkin, Len Crosby, and other local veterans who have been working on this for many years. The addition of the Veterans Home will also have, as we said a minute ago, an economic benefit for all of North Idaho. It's my understanding that this is being presented to JFAC on Wednesday, the 22nd, so hopefully we'll get some positive feedback from that. So, again, thank you very much to the Jacklins for their generous donation. Shelley, are there any amendments to the agenda?
We have none tonight, sir.
Are there any declarations of conflict? With that, would you please present the consent calendar?
Item A is minutes from the January 6, 2015 meeting. Item B is payables December 30th, 2014 through January 12th, 2015. Item C is a CGMD annexation agreement.
Any questions on that? Not entertain a motion?
I'd move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Motion seconds, further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Thorson,
Aye.
Wolf,
Aye.
Malloy,
Aye.
Henderson,
Aye.
Hissong,
Aye.
Thorson, Wilhelm, sorry.
Aye. I'll vote for you, Linda.
Councilor Thorson, vote twice on that one. Motion passes, thank you. We do have one public hearing tonight. It's on the fiscal year 2015 budget amendment. If anybody wishes to testify, there's a form in the back by the podium, and you can fill it out, turn it into Shannon Howard. With that, I'll open the public hearing. Mr. Faulkner.
Okay, here we go. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight is the first budget amendment for fiscal year 15, and the first one of the year is usually a carryover from fiscal year 14. So I have some items in general fund, drug seizure fund, and there's one grant that needs council acceptance. Also, we will budget that for the general fund as well. Okay. The fiscal year 14 had a lot of expenditures in various departments that weren't spent, which accounts for the money that I want to reallocate for fiscal year 15. And of the $16.1 million in revenue, all but $117,000 came in from my estimate. So of the $1 million that I want to roll over to general fund, what will be spent will be a $1,995 for community garden, parks and recreation. We're looking at a ticketing counter at Connole Park for $15,000, which will still have an employee man the station, but we'll have an actual count system at Connole Park. Fertilizer for parks and recreations of $4,493. A flatbed trailer that has been purchased in fiscal year 15, but it was anticipated to roll the funds over from 14 for the $6,173. The police department is in the process of updating their admin phone system to comply with their new 911 equipment, and so they need a $98,000 from last year's budget. They didn't start that, so they'll anticipate starting on that project this year. And also a police vehicle that was purchased this year, but they anticipated using last year's budget to be carried forward to this year as well. So that is the portion of it that we were looking at carrying forward from fiscal year 14. The second page I wanted to put on here was money that if we had extra funds from fiscal year 14, we would use $200,000 for street reconstruction. At the time we put together fiscal year 15's budget, we only had them at $60,000. This additional $200,000 would bring them up to funding levels that we had used in the prior year. Pocket Park that was proposed on the street, on Spokane Street, we have an estimated about $40,000, and that was quite a significant savings if we did it in-house using staff than what was proposed on an outside agency. So we anticipate using $40,000 of the rollover for that park. A facility replacement of $400,000. By rolling over and budgeting for the $400,000, it's my plan to pay off this City Hall building with the additional funds we have already in that, so we can return the debt service funds to sewer and water for the City Hall building. And also just to have an additional facility capital of about $100,000 for any anticipated needs. As buildings get older, the unknown arrives, whether you might need a HVAC system or some type of heating and cooling, you never know. So I want to add an additional $100,000 to that line item, which would leave me $163,000 in the contingency fund. Most likely, we'd like to use a contingency fund for any grants that we're able to get throughout the year, and we'd have money set aside if we were required any kind of match. Also, the general fund was a recipient from OASIS of a Idaho Council of Domestic Violence grant of $20,000. We usually don't include those in the budget until they were awarded. This grant was awarded, so I have it before council for your approval to budget with fiscal year 15. And also in the drug seizure fund, which is 007, we have a cash carry forward of almost $22,000. The drug seizure fund is a little unique because we don't know from one year to the next what money is coming in. Either that money comes from the county from actual drug seizures, or we have money that we have received from auction of drug seizure from the PD. So we use those funds, and so I want to carry over $22,000 from 14 to 15.
Jason, on that drug seizure fund, so if you carry that over, what would the anticipated use of those funds be? Is it just normal expenses of police department?
Typically, it's what they looked at in the past is they call it kind of the war on drugs, the fight on drugs.
Okay.
It could be equipment used in those types of
Sure.
situations.
Thanks.
Canine stuff.
Usually the items I see on their canine or equipment, I wasn't quite sure of the specifics. But
And the other, and you mentioned it, but I think it's good to note, and Dave, thank you and your staff, but that Pocket Park, $40,000, I think the original bid we got on that was north of $100,000.
It was 110, and they were not going to hold that contract amount, so they were going to increase and come back with a new amount to us in April, and I've talked to Mr. Lean that we plan just to do it in-house.
So Dave, again, thanks to your staff, that's a great savings. Any other questions? Carrie?
On the Pocket Park, is any extra staff going to be needed for that? So there would be additional staffing to do that project?
No, it'll all be done within the staff that we have currently.
correct.
Then I had another, and I just don't think I heard you on the ticketing counter.
Yes.
Did you say no employee?
There will still be an employee at the
There
ticket
still
counter.
will be an
Yes,
employee, but
there will
it'll
be.
just do a count.
Yes. Dave has a comment.
I have one more.
Thank you. Just to add to that, one reason it got held up is with all the construction with the Vista. We didn't want to put something in, find that it had to be ripped out or do anything like that. But we will probably explore once again a ticket list system. There's been some changes in what's provided, and we'll bring that back to you. So we're not anticipating doing anything until towards the end of the summer. But we think it's worth at least bringing some alternatives back to you folks.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
And I was going to, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to comment on when we look at why we have cash carryover. One is we're starting to see an escalated increase in our building permits and such going forward in 2014, and then we anticipate in 15 even more increased activity. But it was primarily due to the turnover that we had in staff. So we look at Parks. Parks had over $126,000 that we did not spend in salaries. Because of his, I know last summer we had people calling and saying, we have weeds here, we have weeds there, and we did not have the staff members to cover what needed to happen in Parks, and he actually was fully staffed for about 3 weeks. We just had somebody who was going to work for the city of Spirit Lake now, and so he's down a staff member again, but.
Did we authorize that?
So there was a significant savings in our salaries. I pick on Dave just because it was such a large amount. Usually we do not see a salary savings in Parks similar to what we see in the police department, who also had a lot of turnover. And this year, actually, Parks beat out the police by a few $1,000s.
I don't think that's what we meant.
It's not at all what we were looking for, but
But I finally beat PD.
yes.
I thank you for answering my question earlier today. What I wanted to make clear, and that was one of the explanations, is it wasn't that we over-budgeted
No.
and then magically ended up with all of this money.
Right.
Because this is in fact taxpayers' money, so it's not like we over-taxed, over-budgeted.
Right, that's correct. In
There
fact,
just were circumstances
Right.
that provided.
And there were service levels not where they should have been. So it's not, looking back on it, it's not like we when we reevaluate and look at that, we don't want to eliminate those positions permanently. They're
Right.
positions that we do need and that we do expect the service levels this year to be at that higher level.
In fact, Shelley brought up a good point. I had done a spreadsheet today to recapture because I knew there was salary savings, either unfunded positions that went unfilled or when somebody had left and we replaced them at a lower rate just because of the longevity. There's about $300,000 of the salary issue alone, so.
And that doesn't include the benefits.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so.
Alan,
Thank
question?
Jason, on the facility replacement, $400,000?
Yes,
So your intent is to pay off this building?
correct.
Okay. Generally, when somebody goes to pay off their house, first thing we want to look at is how much is the interest rate that they're going to be saving by paying it off?
Right.
Compared to what they'd be able to get in the market if they took that same $400,000 and invested it. I'm assuming you've done that?
Currently, we have about $130,000 in debt service that from the general fund to both water and sewer. So we will be saving that debt service payment. We'll have that in the general fund and won't have to use that for paying down the building. One thing I looked at when I had cash carry forward was I don't want to have it used as ongoing cost. I want to have it as some type of capital, one-time purchase, because it is basically one-time money in my eye. And so if we take the carryover, use it on something that we can use for future, would be freeing up debt service paid for general fund. That's what I wanted to use that $400,000 for.
Okay.
But yes, we looked at the interest rate
Yeah.
versus on what we're paying versus what we can earn. And right now, what we earn overall at the city less than what we pay on the debt service.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
I knew what you meant.
Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thanks, Shelley.
Any questions of Jason?
No, that's it.
Thank you. And I'm assuming that's a staff report as well?
That's the staff report as well.
Shannon, is there anybody wishing to testify?
No.
Jason, you want to rebut anything you said? Okay, want to make sure. With that, I'll close the public hearing. Council, how would you like to act?
Looks pretty straightforward.
I say we have an ordinance at the end of the meeting, so I don't think we need any action at this point, do we, Mr. Attorney?
Not on this particular issue.
For the end? Okay. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We have none. Citizen issues. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the council regarding a city-related issue that is not on the agenda. If anyone wishes to speak, please come forward, state your name, and we'll give you 5 minutes. Seeing none. Next item is new business, and the first item under that is plumbing and electrical inspections. Are you presenting?
I am presenting. I've been meeting with community development staff over the last 10 years. We've looked at this off and on whether or not to bring these inspections in-house. Currently, the state of Idaho does the inspections for the city of Post Falls. There's a 48-hour window in which they need to schedule the inspections. Our inspections can be same day. If you're in before 9 a.m., you would have the same day inspection. If you're in after 9 a.m., you would have an inspection within 24 hours. Bearing holidays, weekends, that is the schedule that we try to keep. It also would allow us to have better backup and cross-training for the building inspection. We do anticipate this year again to be very busy, so looking at adding this staff member on and then getting them to also have their building certification so they could assist on the residential and commercial side. That would be beneficial. It also provides more coverage at that front counter downstairs, which is pretty busy at this point in time. Even for January, a number of people, when I came in this morning from downstairs on the wellness thing, there was 4 people at the counter when I walked through about 8:30. And so we are seeing that volume pick up at that front counter at community development. We had Jason look at the revenues, and at the basic minimum revenue, the electrical inspection will pay for employee plus benefits. The plumbing is close, and we'll reevaluate that. Over the next couple of years, it would pay plus more for the plumbing as our anticipated revenue, but looking at the base, it is about, I think, around $8,000 short of paying for itself 100%.
Shelley, you had at one point talked about possibly working with the other cities.
Yes, we have been working with our Hayden, Rathdrum, and Coeur d'Alene City Administrator to also look at backing each other up. Currently, Rathdrum and Hayden only have one building inspector. They don't do the electrical or the plumbing in-house. They just do the building inspection. So when they have someone who's on vacation or is out sick, they have no one to cover for them. So you come into Rathdrum and you may not get a building inspection for 2 weeks if someone's absent. That's a possibility. They'd hire out-of-house a contract through Glenn Davis, I think is his name, or Glenn, I can't remember, Glenn Miller, sorry.
Miller.
And last summer to fill in when their building inspector was out. But we're looking at sharing so that if we needed assistance, they could assist us, and if they needed assistance, we would also assist them. Currently, Coeur d'Alene does plumbing inspection in-house, but not electrical. They are moving to possibly include electrical in-house also. And if we had that, then Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls would be able to back each other up on the electrical and the plumbing inspections.
Would there be any kind of reimbursements or cost coverage or cost sharing? How would that work?
It would be a cost sharing. We try to share each other's hours so that we didn't have to actually exchange any kind of payment to each other.
Shelley, you mentioned Rathdrum. Is it possible that if we have an electrical inspector who were looking for things to do, that we could contract with Rathdrum and do theirs?
That is a possibility. We have not talked to that degree yet, and we also don't want to be in competition with the state. So that'll be something that we can negotiate with, but I don't know, without talking to Mr. Cafferty, whether we could even legally do that by the state code.
I believe you could, but like Shelley stated, it's not something that's been explored at this time, and the concern would be
Just trying to make a buck.
No, I understand.
Competition.
And that discussion will happen. Next week, I'll be with the city administrators down in Boise for 3 days, so we'll be talking about this particular topic. It's one of the items. The other thing I wanted to share was on the electrical. We also had discussions with Mr. Porter talking about our facility maintenance and the need for electrical support on occasion for our facilities. And so this individual would be able to help in that arena also.
That'd be great.
Joe?
A question in your memorandum here. The city would collect 100% of the fees for inspections, thereby offsetting the expense of the additional employee. In parentheses, it says 5-year estimate of revenue is $70,000 versus $68,000 for employee with benefits.
That's for the electrical.
Can you clarify that for me? Because the way I read that is that we're going to be collecting $70,000 over 5 years. I'm assuming
No,
we're
no,
not paying
$70,000 per year.
per year for 5 years.
Right.
Thank you. That was the clarification I needed.
Sorry.
Alan?
And the way I'm understanding this, want to just clarify, we're just talking about the electrical inspector
At this
right
point, we're talking about the electrical, yes.
Questions? What action do you need from us tonight?
Just to pass the ordinance tonight at this
Yes,
point.
it's there too.
So a
Please.
budget amendment would actually come forward in the second budget amendment for the salary if we were to hire.
And this says plumbing and electrical inspections.
The ordinance will allow for
Okay, thank
both.
you.
We'll only move forward with one at a time, and again, that'll be approved through the budget amendment process for the actual individual to be hired.
Okay, I got another question now.
Sure.
So let's anticipate that growth takes off and this guy gets too busy. Then do we fall back to the state of Idaho to cover what he can't get done or she can't get done?
Or we can contract.
Okay.
Linda?
I have a question too, Shelley. In the ordinance that is under number C, under number 6, it says that we're doing a plumbing and electrical inspections. So are we to just strike the plumbing?
No, we will be moving forward with the plumbing also.
Okay.
And again, both of those, this is just allowing us to do it. The ordinance will allow us to do it.
Okay.
We have to come back through budget amendment for you to actually approve that position as an employee of the city.
Okay, thank
And
you.
those will be brought back individually.
So essentially, we'll get an electrician up and running.
Right.
Then move over to the
And
plumbing.
then we'll bring in the plumbing, so it will be one at a time.
So we decrease wait times for people needing inspections, and we do it for free, essentially.
Yes.
I like it.
And really, over the next couple of years, we'll probably do it with a little bit, I don't want to use the term profit, because that's really not what it becomes.
savings.
It'll be used as savings, correct.
Well, and I'd like to strike his comment, we're doing it for free.
That's good.
The net effect.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because we're going to,
There'll be no effect on the taxpayer.
Right. That was-
As far as
I knew what
property
he meant.
taxes go.
Any other questions?
So is the fee that a person pays for an electrical inspection, is that set by the city or is that set by state or?
Currently, it's set by state code, so that fee will also come back in a fee public hearing,
Okay.
so that the city can charge that fee.
We can't change that if, like, back to my original estimate, that if growth takes off or we figure that, hey, you know what, we're charging $100 now and we can really ramp that up to 110 and, you know, do we have much flexibility there?
I can't honestly say because I don't recall
I would have to go back to the code.
Right. This particular inspection, the electrical and plumbing both have specific sections of Idaho code that deal with it, that talk about the processes, what codes are to be adopted and how they're to be enforced. My recollection is that it does not articulate a specific fee, but I don't feel comfortable in stating that for sure because I'm just not that certain at this moment.
I guess my other concern would be that based on your estimate, we've got to, we've only got 70,000 to play with, but if we go out into the open market and can't find somebody for less than 72, then we're not doing it for free. Unless we can.
True, or we don't
ratchet.
do it. I mean, that's, if you can't get someone hired in at the wage that we're currently offering, and it's gonna cost us more than we can bring in revenue, then at that point, we would look at not moving forward with that.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good discussion. Next item, arts policy.
I'm presenting this one also. When we started working on Spokane Street, they had a TAC committee. And when that committee initially started meeting, there was discussion about whether or not, at some point, Spokane Street would attract enough artists to want to donate art to Spokane Street up and down. The fish, I don't know how many of you are aware of the fiberglass fish that the city of Post Falls owns that's been donated by the tribe. But currently, we have a 5-foot tall, 2-foot wide, and I found out it's a rainbow trout that needs to be painted, and we've started on the process of trying to acquire someone to paint this fish that will go on the end of Spokane Street as you come off the freeway in that planter box there. And it'll be painted in a Native American tribe format. We're looking to have a local artist paint it for us. So when that discussion started coming forward, we said we have no policy, we don't have anything in place, we want to be proactive on this so that what the city has is art that will not be dangerous to the citizens, will not cost high maintenance costs to the citizens. And so we went forward and basically plagiarized another policy from another city. And we're bringing that forward with commentary that we received from staff at the department head meetings for comments from the council. Tonight is not to adopt this policy, it's just simply for discussion. And if you have further comments that you want to provide me later, you can email me with those comments too, and we'll bring this back in March for a formal adoption.
Okay.
So I'm just willing to take any commentary that you might have at this time.
Questions or comments?
I think,
Go ahead, Carrie's got a question.
Go ahead, Joe. You started?
well,
Carrie, go ahead.
You verbalize it first, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank you for being proactive on this, because I had never thought about it, but the number of issues and misunderstandings that could arise with no policy in place at all, anything from hurt feelings to lawsuits. So even having the starting point, I appreciate you guys taking that initiative and presenting this. So I wanted to say thanks for that.
Oh, thank you, and I'll thank the committee that kind of brought this to I know Linda sat on that committee.
Thanks, Linda.
One of our council members that sat on it.
That was my only comment.
Well, I read it in its entirety, so I don't know where you lifted it from, but they did a good job. It's very inclusive. The word funded is in here. So this is, we don't have a fund. We don't have an arts.
Okay, I'll look for that word, because it shouldn't be, it should be just donated, so.
Yeah, funded is in A, B. And then at the end where it talks about city employee cannot be compensated for a piece of art that they create. But it's not a bad thing to have it in there. I just wanted to clarify, we do not have a fund. We don't have an arts commission like we have.
Right, Coeur d'Alene, for example, has an arts commission, and their developers, I think, pay 1% or something into this arts fund.
Right.
To where art can actually be purchased and bought and placed throughout the city. We do, this is simply for art donation.
Thank you.
So I just want to say, this would be donated by the tribe, by the Coeur d'Alene tribe, but would the maintenance of it be by the city? I mean, forever?
That's one example of what has been donated to the city, is this fish, and yes, the maintenance would become the city's. Any art that was donated to the city that was actually provided ownership to the city would be responsible to maintain.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. So you'll bring, any comments, please provide them to Shelley, and then we'll look forward in March, right?
Yes, and I will also send out is it a prospectus, I think is what I called it, for art commissioning on the fish, so you guys can see that. It's gone through department heads one time for comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, ordinances and resolutions. 3 ordinances and 1 resolution. The first ordinance is on the CGMD annexation.
Move to place the ordinance, CGMD annexation file number A-14-05 on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Hisson.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Mr. Cafferty.
Move to approve the ordinance.
He's got to read it.
Oh, that's right. I always forgot about you, John, sorry.
I'm pretty quiet,
And
so
nothing personal.
Got to give him his airtime.
there you go. An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, providing for annexation of property consisting of approximately 2 acres located at the northwest corner of Section 5, Township 50 North, Range 4 West, BM, Kootenai County, Idaho, and zoning said annexed property for single-family residential, R1, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map and providing for an effective date hereof.
Move to approve the ordinance file A-14-05 CGMD annexation and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion seconds. Further discussion?
Does it make any difference that Kootenai's misspelled?
I know, I was just going to say that.
I bet it can be corrected.
We could put a blue pin to it.
Go for it.
Good eye, Alan.
Shannon, please take the roll.
Malloy.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Hisson.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next ordinance is fiscal year 2015 budget amendment.
Move to place the ordinance on the fiscal 2015 budget amendment on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion a reluctant second. Further discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Henderson.
Aye.
Hisson.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Motion passes.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, Idaho, amending the annual appropriation ordinance 1267 for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2014, to reflect the receipt of unscheduled revenues and to authorize expenditure of previously unbudgeted fund balance, increasing and establishing the appropriations for expenditures in various departments and funds, providing that the tax levy upon taxable property within the city is not affected hereby, providing that all ordinances in conflict herewith are superseded, by this ordinance to the extent of such conflict, and providing that the ordinance shall be effective upon publication date.
Move to approve the ordinance fiscal year 2015 budget amendment and to direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? Clerk, please take the roll.
Hisson.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next ordinance is plumbing and electrical inspections.
Move to place the ordinance plumbing and electrical inspections on its first and only reading by title only while under suspension of the rules.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion?
We're busy today.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Hisson.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Motion passes.
An ordinance of the City of Post Falls, a municipal corporation of the state of Idaho, amending section 15.08.010 of the Post Falls City Code to adopt the 2009 Idaho State Plumbing Code with amendments adopted by the state, amending section 15.16.010 of the Post Falls City Code to adopt the 2014 National Electrical Code with amendments adopted by the state, providing repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing a severability clause, and providing an effective date.
Move to approve the ordinance plumbing and electrical inspections and direct the clerk to assign the appropriate number and that it be published by summary only.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? Please take the roll.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Hissong.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Thorson.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And the last item is resolution, Police Department purchase of 3 Chevrolet Impala police vehicles.
Move to approve the resolution, Police Department purchase of 3 Chevrolet Impala police vehicles.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? Shannon, please take the roll.
Thorson.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Malloy.
Aye.
Henderson.
Aye.
Hissong.
Aye.
Wilhelm.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Your enthusiasm, ladies and gentlemen, was a little bit underwhelming on those, but that's okay. We
I
got it
didn't
done.
hear you.
Pressure
I'm
off Joe
sorry.
there the
I said
last
the
couple
the
of-
enthusiasm was a little bit underwhelming on those, but
From me?
no.
Oh, I apologize.
Seconds.
Yes,
I just thought everybody was taking a nap.
Yeah, I was going to second, but I didn't think I could. Next item, administrative staff reports. First up is Spokane Street Pocket Park.
We've been talking about the pocket park off and on for a little while, and staff had determined that they thought they could do the pocket park less expensively than it had been bid by the contractor through the urban renewal project. So Dave Fair, our Park and Recs Director, and Brian Myers, our Parks Manager, and I believe Preston, our Urban Forester, all got together and put a number to what it would cost us, and we included that in the packet. It was $50-some thousand if we did the pavers, and if we go with a stamped concrete, we could actually reduce that down to under $40,000. And we can take any questions you might have about that pocket park. It was included with the budget amendment.
Linda.
I just have a comment again. I'd just like to thank Shelley and Dave and also Tom for his cooperation on this situation. We really wanted to see that pocket park come in, and so I just appreciate you guys jumping on this and getting it done so that we can assure that there isn't a weed patch there. So really appreciate it.
It's nice to see the price compared to what it was bid at, too, so.
Yes, very good.
Okay.
There's no kiosk on here, and you know how I was hoping we could have a kiosk.
says
Is that,
kiosk.
if we could get a,
I thought there was a kiosk.
There's
is
a
there?
kiosk.
Are you seeing it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Keep going down.
Keep going. Did I not read for comprehension?
You are correct. There is no kiosk at this point.
What's that?
We did make some adjustments also in the fencing.
Oh, so
Do
paint
30s.
bins has been taken out.
Right. It can go back. There'll be space for it, but we did make some adjustments. The fencing, which was 30, 40 feet of fencing, but only on a partial part, didn't make sense either and very expensive. So that's why you saw some reduction in there.
And the kiosk, you've estimated at about $3,500,
Correct.
which would be a wonderful dollar amount for a contribution to that pocket park. So, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave. Need anything else from us?
It was approved in the budget amendment, so we are ready to move forward with this project, and we will hopefully have it completed this spring along with the rest of Spokane Street improvements Urban Renewal is working on, and things are going very positively with the railroad, so
Good. Thank you very much.
very grateful for that.
Next up, snow gates. Mr. Porter,
with the damn
are you
thing.
presenting or Shelley going to present?
Oh, I think I am
We'll
presenting.
let you present. We get Jim up here just so we can look at him. Go ahead, Shelley.
I'm just open for questions. Basically, this came forward a couple years ago, and Councilor Hissong went to City of Rathdrum with our prior Public Services Director, Terry Warner, and with Jim Porter to look at what they had for snow gates in Rathdrum and to discuss the problems that they have with those gates currently. And also to look to see if we could engineer something that might be a better snow gate than currently exists because of the number of issues that are listed in the report itself. And it was my understanding, and you weren't here, Mr. Hissong, for the last meeting, that your feelings complemented what Mr. Warner and what Mr. Porter were saying, and the fact that snow gates are somewhat unworkable.
I have always been wanting snow gates for many, many years. The type of business I'm in, I even had my engineer start working on some ideas. And frankly, he's a good engineer, and he didn't come up with much that we felt would work. If we had the money to buy front-end loaders, several of them, they're fairly adaptable to that. The driver's up high enough to see what he's doing. or road graders, which are really expensive and really slow. So after going to Rathdrum and, being serious about the fact you can't always solve a problem with a piece of steel, I'm just not in favor of them. I think we talked after our trip to Rathdrum last year before, Jim, when did we go? Last year, maybe. At any rate, then maybe we hire outside contractors to run around and get our people that are on our plow list something. But I think the idea of putting our drivers in those trucks and leaving them in there for 12 hours and asking them to do anything more than what they're doing right now is just not a good idea. These guys put in an awful lot of time, and that's a tough job. So for them to have to stop and do driveways or anything, I don't think is on the right way to go. So maybe we look at some other way of plowing those that have the doctor's permission and so on and so forth to apply for perm removal.
And currently we are using a smaller vehicle to go around and do those.
Are we doing them with our own staff then?
Yes, we
or-
are using our own staff for those driveways that are currently approved.
Okay, I would suggest we just stay with that. I realize we get some complaints, but if we get 30 complaints out of 30,000 residents when we have a snowstorm, I don't think it's all that bad.
Well, and if you look at the information that's provided, the cost to get the proper equipment and trucks, graders, et cetera, and the fact that it would slow it down significantly, I think there's a huge price tag
I
on
think the
this.
slowdown is probably the biggest issue. Money's always a big issue, but even if we had the money, you're going to slow down the process of getting the streets cleaned.
Yeah. Okay. Skip, appreciate you reiterating and taking the time last year to do that.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just curious, I mean, it always comes up, and I agree with Skip, I mean, he knows a lot more about this than I do, but it seems like every time this comes up, we get thrown into the Coeur d'Alene thing where, Coeur d'Alene can do it, why can't we do it? I guess I've never really heard the reason why they do it or can do it.
They can do it, and it takes longer. For those who drive Coeur d'Alene streets and Post Falls streets, I can tell you any day of the week I'd rather drive up a Post Falls street after a snowstorm. It takes significantly longer for Coeur d'Alene to get the residential streets plowed with the snow gates than it does Post Falls.
That answers me.
Okay.
And they also berm
Yes,
the snow, and then go back later and get it.
right.
But, yeah.
They haul the snow off the street, and they have areas throughout town. You'll notice, I've noticed a couple of them here lately, that there's still large volumes of snow where they've plowed them up.
So I would agree that I prefer
The way we do
how
it.
our streets are plowed.
Thank you very much. Next time, mayor comments. Something I did forget to mention, we mentioned the passing of Gary Young, but also want to extend our condolences to the family of Scott Hogue, who unexpectedly, Scott's father-in-law passed away. So our thoughts and prayers with Scott and his family. And then also, Mr. Hissong, welcome back. Glad you made it back safely, and happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much.
So, council comments.
I just want to repeat something you brought up earlier. But if you're out there to anybody in the Jacklin family, it's absolutely overwhelming to come back from a trip and read where they had donated property for the Veterans Home. Clay Larkin started on that years ago and has been steadfast in moving it forward, but he made a comment in the paper, it's like a stool with a three-legged stool and your short one leg. That leg was the land. The last meeting we had at the American Legion, that was the biggie. The money's there. Certainly our need and the plan that has been put together for it should go. But here was the land problem. And to come home and read that in the paper, it was like, wow. So Mr. Jacklin, all three of you, thank you very much.
Great donation. With that, we do not need a executive session tonight? No. Next motion would be?
Adjourn.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.